There are some things that Fuji-san does better than anybody in the industry. We all know the color science, and some people hate it, but most of us appreciate Fuji's look, the vintage touch. But there's other things about using a Fuji camera that you may not even be aware of. A lot of people insult the menu system, you're stupid. So today we dive into what I love and hate about Fuji, and then at the end-ish, we have 2 medium format-like questions, and we will dive into whether that is coming into my life sooner than later.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
So we're on the Canon C70 with the EF 50mm 1.2. Let us switch now to the Fuji equivalent, 35mm 1.4. Do we see an upgrade in the look or a downgrade? And then I show you the menu system love that only Fuji-san Industries knows. Fuji is in our life now. What I've noticed, when I compare the Fuji to my Sony or something, I'm always like, wow, Fuji looks so much better at the cost of just having so much worse autofocus, and the stave is weird, all these quirks, but like the image, much better. When I compare it to Canon, those advantages seem to go away, and I'm just left with the worst performance. I often prefer the Canon colors, so like one might suggest that Fuji doesn't have a place in a palace. Not my palace, but I find the Fuji autofocus system to be more reliable outside, even though you're definitely gonna have moments where it hunts, and when you do move, it's not smooth at all, but like at least it gets ya. The R7 was losing my ass. Like, Fuji's more reliable. By the way, we're in 6K open gate, so I can upload vertical videos to my TikTok of me dancing in Indian fashion, like this. I haven't nailed it quite yet, but Fuji lets you do that. All right, let me show you the reasons why I love to use a Fuji and some things I hate, and then we talk about some stuff, whether or not I'm selling this immediately, it is listed, whether or not I get an X-T5 or a medium format. Oh, little Fuji, the little engine that could, and it would just to help you. So let's go through, I made a list of things that I love and some that I hate. Let's start with the positive. I'm gonna switch on into my custom mode here. So you see 4K 60, boom, HD 240, love that, little dials, no locking switch, no pinching to lock. I wouldn't mind a locking switch, but don't make me hold it. But the point is, oh God, the autofocus, why did I do that? That brings us to the first thing I hate, so much for starting with the things I like. This is annoying. There's no longer a thing, a little switch on the body. So there should never be a camera released that doesn't have the directional pad. This is insane because that's 5 buttons that I just lost. I used to be able to map something like that required a press and an up. You could map that to the up switch of the D-pad, and then you're just pressing it twice to move. But now I can't do that. So on this particular camera, that sucks, man. Tony 6.4, are we serious? Are we serious right now? That brings us to something Fuji does that no other company seems to be able to do, and that is, when I'm in my custom mode, I can change it from aperture priority to manual. All the other ones do not let you do that. And so if you're in a custom mode, all of a sudden, okay, we're 4K 60, I'm in aperture priority for wildlife. If I want to go into manual now, Fuji lets you do it. Every other company you can't switch, so you have to go back into like a movie mode and then change your frame rates, menu dive. Fuji's the only one that lets you switch that little menu aperture priority thing. This does not exist anywhere else. Most other companies have it up on this dial. Pass them bullshit. Speaking of something else I hate, and every company is also the same. You see these film sims, they're glorious, I love them all. Why isn't F-Log here? Like, just make my life easier. Like, F-Log is one of these. That would be so much easier than having to dive into the menu. Thankfully, I put it to my menu, and it's the first one, and it's right there, and then I can turn F-Log or F-Log 2. Where's my F-Log 2C? Huh? That's missing. You forget that one in the firmware office. So every company seems to do this. Sony with their S-Log3, like that's a whole bunch of picture profiles, and then if you want to turn that off, you go into this separate thing that lets you choose the standard color. Oh God, leave me alone. And S-Cinetone, and Canon's the same thing. You got to dive in, turn log on or off, and once it's off, then you can choose faithful and standard, and God help us. Just put all those into one thing. Like it's a look. Let me choose that look in the same menu because I have it on a button. God help me. Stop helping me. It would be amazing if I could use this same one button to do this, but there's also no button for F-Log2 or Canon Log2 or anything. You can't map it to a button, so like this becomes kind of useless. When it comes to Fuji's movie setting list, it's okay. It's not as good as Canon's. I prefer Canon's. It's all color coded. It's easier to tap. Is this even touch? It's not even touch anything. I don't know, man. Like you pick your codec in here. It's like there's a lot of options, kind of annoying. And then you pick the size and then you can pick your resolution and frame rates and it's okay. And then there's a high frame rate mode that's not even in here. So that's kind of annoying. And you pick your film sim or the F-Log2 if it's off. Notice you can't change the film sim from here. It just shows you the one that was on. You'd have to exit, go back into there. So I don't know, this area could use a overhaul. It could look nicer, color coded, all in one area. I think all this should be in one area. Like you click into the thing and there's resolution, frame rates, and codec. And make it simple. I think it could be done. The reason I'm debating getting a Fuji X-T5 is just because I can put this function on a custom button and then that's how you select HD 240. So if you have the direction pad and you put the top one to high-speed recording on, all you have to do is double press it and that will bring you to this menu and then it's on, two presses and then half press of the shutter and you're in that mode. It's not quite as good as a mode dial, but it's somewhat respectable. Why do you keep going to 5.6? How dare you? One thing I love about Fuji custom modes is you can have them update. You can change settings and then it will save automatically. I don't think I can do that on Canon. Don't quote me on that. But some companies let you do that, others don't. Couldn't do it on Sony that I remember. Not sure about Nikon, but it's nice that I can just change a thing like the aperture now that I'm not on that super zoom lens and it'll stay there. It's like, okay, I want it at 2 all the time. And I switch custom modes back to 2. It's always there, it saves. And you can turn that off if you don't want to, but I prefer it. If I make a tweak, I'd like it to stay like that tweak. There's one other thing I love about the custom modes that only Fuji and I think Panasonic do, and I have to find it in the menu, and that just brings us, before we get there, this wrench menu I do not like. There's so many things scattered in here that I never remember. Like right now, I don't know where those custom things are. It's probably not in here, but it could be. So I have to go through like it's not very intuitive. It was in the movie setting. How dare you? So I love that you can name these. That's just nice. That's good times. 4K, I can see it. Although will I ever see that? Not really, only if I'm in this menu. But one thing I hate about Fuji, the white balance temperature. I don't like that it's a single thing that you change the 4s and the 6s. Usually it's all one thing, like it's 5700. You go up by the hundreds each time, whereas this, you'll never get there. You have to keep going back, 6 and 2s, and it's a weird code combination. I don't like it. One cool thing Fuji lets you do, you hold the Q button, and that lets you bring up the quick menu and you can change them to different things. And this is a pretty good way to do it. Like some other companies, you gotta dive into a menu. It should be where you're just like, you're holding a button and then you add that button. Or if I wanna change this custom button, I should be able to just hold it like Panasonic lets you do, and then it brings up the menu of all the things. Fuji's quick menu is not my favorite because you can't select anything in it. You see that? How it's just like, where is it? You have to use the dials to change things, and it's kind of awkward, the 2 dials. So the front dial moves it, back dial changes it. It's not always great, but this is a good little setup. If you're doing autofocus, you got subject detection. You can turn that on or off or switch to face detection. It's kind of good. that one turns off automatically, and then you're doing birds at some point. There's the birds, not bad, manual focus, cool times. I have this set up to where I appreciate it. Make the screen bright outside. It's like, those are some needed things. Little area focus switch. But in general, everything I need to use is pretty much right there for me. I'm pretty much only doing like F-Log or a film sim, or changing from aperture priority to manual, or having the zebra levels from 65 for the face or 85 outside. And there's not much that I need, and I find using a Fuji camera is quite pleasurable. How you can just like manual focus, override just like Nikon. It's very pleasurable to use, except for your autofocus quirks, your terrible stabilization, and all buttons being missing from my life. So there you have that. Using a Fuji, not so bad, huh? Pretty good sometimes. It's terrible at times too. We're in standard now, 4K. So here's the deal. Here's what I'm debating personally. The Fuji XS20, it's much worse than I thought. I had no idea the 240p was line skipped hell, and it looked, I've never seen that. I don't remember it from the XT4. I knew it had some moire, it wasn't perfect, but this is deal-breaking territory. I don't know how it got worse, but it's not good, and I can't use it. I've been recommending this. I'm so sorry that I've recommended this to anyone trying to do slow motion wildlife. Forget about that. So my only option is Fuji X-T5 and hope that it's better, but I don't know that it is, and I just feel like that would be the dumbest move. Like, we have no flippy screen, so I can't use it for this. If it's just wildlife, X-T5, can you tell me, does it have the moire patterns? What's it looking like? It's rough, man. So like, I don't know why I'm even, but the image, if you ignore that, the 4K 60, like, it looks better than my full frame Canon for so much cheaper, and it's lighter, and it's Fuji magic. You saw the birds performing for Fuji, and they refused to do it for Canon. So like, there's something about Fuji that is just, it's more about the moment, the meaning behind the scene rather than the spec sheet. So like, Fuji is special, but like, you're also really bad sometimes. So I can only imagine what a medium format Fuji would look like. I have thoughts. So first, let's get to a couple questions, and then do I jump right in? Fujifilm GFX 100 megapixel medium format. What is your opinion about this camera? That's not the one I would get. That's the old debunked one that's been replaced completely by smaller, better cameras. If you have a 100, you lost money and you're stupid. That thing's, it's ugly, it's huge, and then Fuji debunked it. Like, what do you even, why are you in this conversation here? That's not the one. You want to be looking at the GFX 100S. There's like the same exact specs pretty much, if not better. I think that has phase detect autofocus as well. The 100 didn't, don't quote me on that. But like, the S is better, and there's an S Mark II. The GFX, unless you meant the Mark II, but you didn't. So like, you were operating on the fact that you think that's the camera to get your mishappen fingers pointed wrong at your keyboard. You were getting bored of my episode, about to leave my show, costing me valuable ad revenue, but I switched into Reala Ace. And now we see that this is my most hated profile so far. On the XH2S, it just looks terrible. I'm curious if it looks as bad on the XS20. Maybe that was just a lemon camera and this is better. Is it? No? All right, last question, and then we decide whether or not we move right into medium format. I'm considering the Fuji GFX 100 II. How do you think its video compares? Now we're talking. Now we're talking about stuff. That camera, you cannot match the sharpness. I don't know what it is. I've never seen something so over sharpened, but in a good way, like a detailed way. For wildlife, I can only imagine that we could not even fathom the results. Fuji is special, and we're talking APS-C, just ghetto Fuji. Imagine beyond full frame, bigger, and it's Fuji. I can only dream of it. But that camera, yeah, that's the one. That's the only one that does 4K 60 at least, and HD 120. Do they look good? I don't know. Freaking doubt it. I don't know. It's probably moire worse than the XS20. but it could be the most glorious thing you ever seen. You get a little Fringer adapter with your EF lenses. Some of them cover enough. They cover some of that sensor, and it's like, holy shit, the 85mm 1.2 is just like maybe a tiny darkening vignette, not much. And then you have like a 75mm 29.9 on a Fuji medium format with the color signs. Could you even imagine it? You could have some stuff, and that GFX 50mm Tony 3.5, while underwhelming, just speaking those thoughts, 3.5, it might have some pop. That's the only one. The GFX lenses, they're not like a lot of right to home about, you know, they're sharp, they went for the clinical look, but that one maybe. And then if not, there's bound to be some Voigtlander glass for it. There could be. It's just, it has a lot of problems and it's so expensive. Oh, I'm teal and orange now. I'm basically a movie brought to you by Kellogg's. So that camera, nostalgic neg, obviously. What are you even thinking? Here's my problem with Fuji medium format. They're coming out with that cinema cam, which is just this camera in a huge body for way more money. Because they have that, we might not see a video-centric medium format camera. Like, I would like a lower megapixel version. Ideally, 2 megapixels for 1080p medium format, like the most dynamic range ever. That's obviously not gonna happen. I wouldn't be mad at like a 26 megapixel, just like your other Fuji X-Trans sensors. Do that, and then okay, you might be able to squeeze 4K 120 in there and HD 240. And then we have medium format, and it's fun, and I would love to enter that. But it's not gonna happen because of that Eterna cinema cam costing $30,000. Oh, we can't beat that for video now. That's a Fuji Hammer assassin waiting to cripple our lives. They're looking at me, aren't they? Calm down. You know how to deal with them. You just have to duck and then punch. Ow! So while exciting as it sounds to get into medium format, and if I see the right deal on something, I pounce right on it, but it just sucks that it's not at all meant for video. It's 100% photography. Not one of them has a flippy screen. And I know it sounds stupid on paper, like who's gonna do you? I would, and I could bring you the cinema, but like it's not happening for us, and it's annoying. And like all the video specs are very lagging behind because they're trying to deal with 100 megapixel medium format sensors. Too much information to be flashing 120 times a second. So like, I get it, it's not happening, but if you do a moderate megapixel amount, then we get some slow-mo, and then it's Fuji magic, and your autofocus is quirky, but it's good enough. Has it been going haywire in the video? It's impossible. XS20 is one of the worst I've seen so far. The XH2S was much better. This is not a mini XH2S at all. It's missing so much. There's no ProRes in there, there's no buttons. But I don't know what Fuji's doing. Like if you want their XH2S line, it's a left-handed mode dial. And so if you want the proper right-handed one, it's this ghetto spec machine with the XS20. We're in H.265, I'll leave now. But 420, because I can't edit these files in my computer, I finally created a Mac account, just ordered a Mac Mini, M4 Pro, it's coming. We're gonna dive into that world and see, can I edit 2 8K 60 files? Is Mac life worth living? Let's find out. Was I the sheep the whole time? Medium format cameras are available through my affiliate links, as is Bitcoin. You will buy the affiliate sales product and I will make money and buy a medium format. Subscribe for minutes.